and what we call it, blue collar clothing. Now, Walmart used the opportunity and figured out that they are and did a forecasting that customers that were going to see that our electronic store now, they could come to Walmart if they offer more, because traditionally Walmart wasn't offering too many electronic. If you went to Walmart, you wouldn't go buy high definition TV from Walmart years ago. But now, including myself, I never thought of Walmart as a good place to go buy high def TV or any kind of electronic gadget. But that changed because Walmart did what? They redesign and reinvent themselves. They change their vision. See, when you're studying a research, when you're a study company, I want you to get into depth into their vision and mission. They changed. They used the opportunity and they changed their vision and says, okay, we want to be the leading. Now, one of the vision of Walmart, they want to be the leading electronic store. They're also doing the same thing with clothes. Because Target and who they follow, so it's good for you to look at your customer, your competition, and redefine your vision and mission, looking at your competition. Walmart looked at Target. Have you noticed, now Target is bringing some fashionable clothes. Have you noticed that? They just now, it's not so much of a blue color. They're bringing some fashionable. So Walmart said, okay, now, because always Walmart had blue color. Now, Walmart in their rearrangement and they're changing their strategic planning is moving some of underwear, some other stuff they had that used to be in the center of the store. Now they're moving it into the bag and they're putting a stuff like high-end and more fashionable clothes up front in direct competition with Target. Then, as I said, forecasting is essential preliminary to effective planning. Now, you are in management, most of you in engineering management program, and you have to understand that any engineer, even those that are not in management, have to be part of team to do forecasting, and forecasting and planning kind of go, as I said, hands to hand. If companies do good forecasting, then they can do a good planning. So, and I think this strategy that Walmart has is a good one because they're looking at they're forecasting, and that because of demise of some competition, they're gonna lure this customer into their store. And there is a lot of different type of forecasting companies. They do it for new facility, production planning, workforce scheduling. These are some of things that companies do to do forecasting, facility planning. They're changing their production with of course in production planning and control, but there is so many aspects to forecasting. You want to look at long-range forecasting. These companies long-term forecast mainly goes to more high-tech companies in order for them to expect. Apple does a good job with iPod, and some other new gadget. They always look at long-term. And in order to get the product out to the market, they have to make sure their forecasting is correct. And forecasting is not a science that is 100% accurate. No one have that crystal ball that you can sit down and say, okay, I can forecast, that's it. And if they did, we wouldn't be in this mess. We are in recession mainly because no one forecast. No one forecasted long term. We came out of era during George Bush period, and nobody forecasted, what's going to happen. Is many times government borrows money, and they look at short term. They do short term forecasting because of politics. Sometimes government want to just election is coming up, so they forecast that we need some vote. So they don't look at long term. And in order to be successful, companies to be successful, you always need to look at long term forecasting. And now, we're coming out of recession. Again, government really need to do long-term forecasting. What is it going to do with housing? They passed some packages and some stimulus packages in the Congress. Mainly, some of them was short-term. This stimulus package and giving, I think, $8,000 to first-time buyer to buy a house. To me, some of these are short-term. So, we have to wait and see if this is going to work or not. Because by November, this is going to end. So, is this going to kick-start the economy or not? Right now, unemployment even went up from last month. And forecasters are saying what? Right. Those expert forecasts are saying we're going to hit double digit. Now we have 9.7% national unemployment, and California over 12%. Last year was 7. So forecasting, as I said, if somebody forecasted last year that it's going to be this much unemployment, you would have planned accordingly. Like I taught a class I came here in January. I taught a class in 602 class, which is companies of future, how do you build the company, and I said, one thing was with oil forecasting. Oil came from 147 to 35, 36. And I remember I said to my class in 602, it's documented. Next time I need to tape all the classes, so how that stays there, so there is a record, either good or bad. Nobody have the crystal ball. Sometimes I get some forecasts right, and sometimes I don't get forecasts right. But I forecasted that oil, and I called everybody I knew, including my brother. I said, buy some oil contract. You need at least $50,000 to buy oil contract. And I forecasted for 2 years. You have to have periodical forecasting. I forecasted that this year the oil going to at least come up around double itself, because it was ridiculous. When we went to 35 from 147, it didn't take a genius to know that oil going to come back up. And I still think longer term forecast for oil is going to be because there is limited amount of oil in the world, and there is emerging technologies, emerging countries like China, India, that they're becoming more tech savvy, and because of labor shifting to these countries, they would need more oil, for their economy to expand. So more demand create, where there is more demand, create shortage of supply. It's a simple factor, forecasting is simple factor, supply and demand. So when it's more demand, it's going to be short supply, price is going to go higher. And we already see, prices, just a few months ago, you could put gas in your car, I think it was $1.80 in California, now it's $3. So already 40–50% added to price. So forecasting, as I said, is very critical to companies. And then you have short range forecast, amount of inventory for next month, amount of product to produce next week, especially seasonal forecast. Again, Circuit City, very poor job in short-term forecasting. Christmas was coming up. They didn't look at, that recession, people are not going to be buying some of these items. They ordered too many items. They were stuck, with a lot of items they couldn't sell. So short-term and long-term forecasting is critical. And short-term, sometimes could be brutal. If you don't forecast, as I said, summer is coming, whatever period of, and if company do poor job in short-term forecasting, what's going to happen? You have two situations. Over inventory, you have under inventory. You either have too much of merchandise or you have too little of merchandise. And either case, company is going to suffer. What's going to happen if you have, especially, I don't know, have you ever